States. It's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Mark, from where I'm at, which is the States, of course, and I'm doing fantastic, of course, and I hope you are as well. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Boy, we've had some fun here over the last couple. Got to revisit some of the music that I love. I got to hear pretty much You'll Never Walk Alone. I got to hear that for the first time. I am going to watch the one with the Liverpool Football Club. So I'm going to watch that. So that is on. That is coming up. Got some other music coming. Really kind of into the music right now. So we're definitely going to be watching that. I got a strike. I haven't had a strike in a long time because I've been trying to really only do videos of people that I've contacted and so on and so forth. But that's not always possible. Lots of times people don't respond, you know, and it's just, you know, I'm trying, but there are some that, I get it. You get thousands of emails. It's tough to really respond to, and there's a lot of the videos we watch are from bigger companies, and they're not involved in in talking to everybody who emails them. I totally get all that. So I'm still watching some channels, some videos that while I've reached out or have tried to reach out, it's just not possible. Anyway, you get a strike every once in a while because of videos I've done 2 years ago. This strike that I just got was from a video on Windsor, or not Windsor. It was Westminster, I believe. It was like the Abbey tour, and it was 2 years ago. It was 3 years ago. I think I did it in 2021. I can't remember exactly, but it's like, what do you do when it's been sitting around for that long? So I've been toying with the idea of just going back and just deleting a bunch of the older videos that, nobody really watches anymore anyway. But I've got over 1,000, and it's pretty daunting to go through, but I need to kind of purge. A lot of it's old rugby ones, and nobody watches those anymore. Maybe they do. I don't know if they do, but so I'm contemplating doing that. Just as a reminder, though, God forbid that I do get striked out of YouTube, because you just never know when these videos get striked that have been on the channel for so long, you just forget about them, and then all of a sudden somebody goes through their channel and cleans house and they start striking everything. You just don't know. They can come in bunches. One time I got two like back to back from videos that I'd done years ago, and it was just like out of the blue, so you just don't know. And I'd be stressing if YouTube was my income. And I've talked to and watched a lot of people who, this is their income. And so it's really, really stressful for them having to deal with channels being taken down and so on. While I don't want our channel to ever be taken down, because this is such an enjoyable way for me to learn and hang out with my friends and my family here, I'm not relying on this to support me. This is purely for my, and I'm going to be selfish here. This is purely for my education, my entertainment, and for my joy of being able to talk to all of you. So, but I am happy that all of you are included. Don't get me wrong. I'm so blessed that I have made so many new friends, and it's just been great. But anyway, the point is, I'm not stressed out about it. I was at first because the whole thing, it was like, oh my gosh, strikes. Oh, what am I? But it's like, this has been such an incredible journey that if it were to go away today or tomorrow, I mean, I have so much memories and I've gotten so much more than I ever thought I would out of this. So, and that is all thanks to all of you. So thank you. Here I am starting to ramble too much already. But this surprising thing is I've gotten a lot of support with that anyway. But the point I'm making is if YouTube does, let's say it does happen, and I have to just kind of say this every once in a while, I'll start a Patreon and we'll do something on Patreon. So if for whatever reason, you'll know when I'm gone because they give you so many days. So I'll put out a video and let you all know. But just throwing that out there because every time I get a strike, I always think, but I hadn't had a strike in a long time. So this is just a reminder. Anyway, today, History Squad. Love Kevin at the History Squad. His channel is awesome. I've learned a lot. He shows me a lot of really cool things. I know a lot of you already know him. And he does a lot of castles and other buildings and a ton of other things. So it's important, right? It's important that you go over and support his channel. Links will be in the description, as always, to the channel and to this video. Today we're going to look at a Tudor Manor house, Harvington Hall. I don't know where this is or what this is. When you say a Tudor Manor house, I kind of have an idea of what it might look like. It's not a castle, but it's a very large home, but it's built to last. It's kind of when I think of a manor house, but they're large. They have big palatial grounds around them. They're well kept, manicured, and all that stuff. So, and they're just lovely and glorious. And Kevin's going to give us a tour of Harvington Hall. So I'm excited to see this. So please come sit with me on this big fake couch. It is big. It is fake. Just keep in mind it's fake. So you could wear, eat, drink, do whatever. Just come with me, hang out with me. And maybe you haven't seen Harvington Hall before, and this is going to be something new. Gosh, I hope so. Or that you already did know, and Kevin's going to explain some secrets. This is the hidden secrets inside Tudor Manor House, Harvington Hall. Let's do it. So, it's kind of what I'm picturing, yeah. Oh, but that is nice. It's got the moat. Is that a moat, or is that just a river going right next to it?
Hi, my name's Kevin Hicks. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The History Squad. Now today we're back in my home country of England. We're at Harvington Hall, which has its feet in the medieval times, but is known as an Elizabethan moated manor house. That's quite an extraordinary place because it's got 7 priest hides. It's a house of secrets. Before we go in, I thought I'd mention the fact that this is a fully moated manor house. In medieval times, you'd often have houses where they would quarry around the outside for building materials, and then it would become the moat. But this is both a quarried moat and also it's naturally fed. So a quarried moat, just so I understand, that's just so when they're building the building itself, the earth and stuff that they're digging up to use for materials then creates this indention, impression, whatever you want to call it, to allow water to sit and float around the actual, in this case, this house. But he also said it's also naturally fed, so you're getting fresh water coming through, which is huge when you're thinking about it. That's awesome. I'm curious, how does that happen?
How does it, so you just build it to where you tap into a local source? It's awesome though. Look at that. That is so cool.
So this, once the water filters through the actual sandstone of the house, it fills an internal well, which we'll have a look at later. And in the day, that water was nice, fresh and clean. It's still pretty good today, but I'll show you that later on. Now, the reason they had a moat, it was for defense, basically. One of the amazing things about this house is it's been changed around and the windows don't make sense. If you have a look, you can see it's all what we call in England higgledy-piggledy.
Higgledy.
And look at that, more higgledy-piggledy windows. This house doesn't make sense. But then again, it's not meant to make sense. This is a house that's built to confuse. Those pursuivants, the priest hunters. There's a bit of a clue. This is an Elizabethan Catholic house. You had a priest in here, you had to hide him.
So that was when they were all being hunted down. Priest hide. I was wondering what he was meaning by that, but then, yeah, it all makes sense. To go back on the moat, though, it filters through the sandstone. So that's the source is groundwater? Is that how or is it? I'm a little confused about that, so someone will have to explain that. I apologize. But yeah, the windows, higgledy-piggledy. I love that. It's so funny. It even looks way down here. They've added a fan, maybe some air conditioning or something. That's what it looks like anyway. I don't know if you can see it down here at this end of the house, but yeah, the windows do look different. You see this one here looks different than these. Oh man, I've forgotten about how the priests were hunted. And if it's Catholic, yeah, everything Catholic was being torn down, right? And that's why a lot of the churches were torn down. Was that Henry the Eighth? Oh gosh, I hope I'm close. I'm just hoping to be close. Was it him who was tearing down? Yeah, it was him, right? Because he wanted a divorce. This is the Cliff Notes version. You'll have to give me a quick synopsis here, but yeah, that's cool. Interesting.
It's sad, really. You know, during the reign of Elizabeth I, it was illegal to celebrate Catholic Mass.
Oh.
Although, strangely, being a Catholic wasn't. Now, Humphrey Packington, who inherited Harvington Hall in 1578, was a staunch Catholic. He was a recusant, meaning they refused to attend the Church of England service. And this cost him a lot of money because he was heavily fined for not attending the church services. So to continue to practice his Catholic faith, he had a number of priest hides built throughout the hall so that any resident priest could be hidden if the place was ever searched. So we're at the entrance, we're going to cross over the moat. Let's go inside, take a look at this house of secrets.
So was it... So I was not even close with Henry VIII. Why do I think it was him? I wonder. It's for a foreigner, it's tough. Excuse me. For a foreigner, it's tough to grasp all this history. I need to take a course, a school. I need to go back to school and have it taught because it's hard, even watching so much of it on YouTube. I get so information most of the time that it's hard to kind of follow, but it's just so bizarre at that time, having to hide your priest to be able to continue with your faith. It's just crazy. Sorry for all the interruptions.
Every house needs a kitchen. This is a fine example of an Elizabethan kitchen. Whitewashed walls, limestone flags, and you have 2 fires. This one has got some later additions, whereas this is actually turned, the spit is turned by weights. Originally it would have been a spit boy would be doing it. But what makes this house a little bit rare when it comes to the kitchen is what's here. It has an indoor well. Now this is moat water. Let me drop this down.
Oh my God.
You have to jiggle it around to get some water in it. If need, a bit of pressure.
There you go.
So this water comes from the moat, the same place where some of the poop goes.
Ew.
But it doesn't get piped into here. What happens is the water is filtered through the sandstone of the house itself. And if you have a look,
Don't.
that is clear water.
It is.
I don't suppose it's safe enough to drink nowadays, but
gonna
in
say-
those days, how wonderful to have a well actually inside the kitchen.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's tough to see all the pathogens
I've never seen
and all the other stuff.
Another
You can't
one of
see with
these.
the eye.
Harvington Hall certainly does have some secrets. Now,
But you
Pie
can always
oven.
boil it.
I love pies.
It's true.
These pies, they're not real. Made by my old friend Dave Bills. Well done, Dave. Pork pies, you can't beat them. But there was a priest hide above this, accessed from another part of the house. So many secrets locked up. So you imagine somebody trying to search this house. The floors don't match. The windows don't level up. There is so many different things. I love it.
I do too. This is amazing.
If you come with me, I'll show you that priest hide above the oven. Don't you just love this? Had its own brew house.
Huge. That's great.
And what they've done is they've taken a few bricks out so that we can actually see inside the priest hide, which was accessed further up. Wow. This was one of the smaller priest hides, but the good thing about this one is it was warm, being just behind the pie oven. So we're just going inside Lady Yates's bedchamber. This is complete. Let's have a look. Mary Yates was the daughter of Humphrey Packington and was the last member of the Packington family to ever live at Harvington Hall. She died in 1696, aged 85. Beautiful original panelling on the walls. This is quite incredible when you think how this house has survived. Original floorboards, once again, higgledy-piggledy. The interesting thing about these original floorboards is as the house has aged and it's changed shape, you have the undulating floorboards. And it's a great characteristic of these old houses. I'm walking downhill. Quite wonderful, quite special. And you take a look in here. This isn't just a bedchamber. It had its own ensuite, its own privy. And it's brilliant because it empties straight into the moat.
Oh God, that they're scooping up
It doesn't
in the
pong.
kitchen. It doesn't what? I'm sorry.
Doesn't pong.
Pong. That is so wild.
So we're in the withdrawing room of the house where after dinner the ladies would withdraw, relax, that kind of thing. The ceiling has got exposed beams, but this is actually part of the medieval side of the house, the original part of the house. But what makes this special is two things. Have a look at this. This is a ladder from a priest hide, Elizabethan. It was longer than this. I mean, this is covered in woodworm. They are very rare. I understand there's only a couple others in existence. This would have gone down into a priest hide so that the priest could escape detection. And it just so happens I know where the hide is in this room. Let's go and have a look. Oh, I best put this back.
Please stay off the ladder.
Don't tell them I moved it. So this is a cupboard. But it's one of these places in the room that doesn't quite make sense. You open it, but it's actually a passageway. But if you lift the floorboards up, there is a ladder going down around 12 feet into a priest hide. Now this ladder is a reproduction, but the priest hide is original. Just take a look at that, just under the floorboards in a corridor. It's not the most secret, it's not the most cleverly done, but this is the original part of the house. We're going to explore and find some more.
That is crazy. This is really giving me Winchester.
Let's check out the great chamber.
House
Let's have a look
vibes.
inside.
We'll talk about that later.
So what this room actually was, it's one of the large rooms of their house. It was the family room, the entertainment room, so they could dine here, have friends, dancing, music. And there you have Humphrey Packington himself, Abigail, his wife. I believe there was something like 30 years difference in age between the two. And he didn't conceive his first child till he was at the age of 50.
Oh,
his
boy.
two surviving daughters over yonder.
Even like
This
me having a
is
child.
typical of a Catholic house. I suppose you'd have all of the saints on the window.
There he is.
Thomas More, God rest his soul. But what I'm here for is a bit of the history of the house itself. It was only lived in for about 100 years, you know, because it belonged to other estates, grander houses, Coat and Court and all of these. This is lovely, but there's an interesting bit for me. There's a lot of this house missing. There's half of the house missing. Apparently there were 32 hearths in the original house, but there's, I think there's only 14 now. So it shows you the massive side of the house that was demolished. This house simply wasn't used. And people say it was the hearth tax or the window tax. They decided to knock half the house down. So there would have been lots more rooms like this standing, but it's up this corner. There used to be oak panelling all around this house, original oak panelling, but it's been replaced. Behind the panelling up yonder, where they've left it exposed, you can see Elizabethan wall painting. As we go through the house, we will see more and more Elizabethan artwork.
Wow.
Now, we're in the Mermaid Passage. Quite something. You have a look straight ahead.
That's so crooked. Maybe that's just
This
the
whole
angle.
area is covered with Elizabethan paintings on the walls. It's absolutely incredible. There's a mermaid here. It's really hard to see, but her tail comes around and there's a man actually riding side saddle on her tail. There is a sword. This must have been absolutely splendid. Look at that face there, just staring out over the years. Every single inch of all of these walls would have been covered in these murals, these paintings. You can see everywhere you look, there is still the ghost of the Elizabethan past. And then, to top it all, this newel staircase, it was decorated from underneath. And I've never seen one like it anywhere else, where they've decorated all of the underneath. In the day, this must have been so bright, so beautiful to walk up.
Oh, it's wild.
So we're going to go into a little tiny room, which was possibly Humphrey Packington's closet, his office, but it's known as Dr. Dodd's library. It's a book room. Let's have a look. Something that amazes me about these places. Look at the carpenter's marks. So those marks there match those marks. Yeah, everywhere you go, there's the marks and they all match.
Never even noticed that, probably.
This is putting my fingers into the work of carpenters from hundreds of years ago. I just love it. Now this room holds a secret.
Cool.
So let's pan around and see if you can spot. There is a hidey hole, a priest hide in here. Now the room was panelled on all three walls, and there was a book cupboard here with doors that opened outwards. And I'm going to go up these steps, maybe surprise you a little.
Careful.
All the panelling on all of these walls, but there is a hide. And you know, 1894, it was actually discovered by accident. This house was empty then, I understand, and there was a young lad rummaging around. The other side of this wall, there is a cupboard, and he noticed there were some loose bricks. But when he looked through the gap, he noticed there was a stool or something. So he came round here, he took the loose panel off the wall, and...
Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
Lo and behold, a priest hide.
That is cool.
And this is quite incredible.
Wow.
So the window on the left there is the back of the cupboard where the little boy removed some bricks and then saw inside the stool in the corner. He had discovered the priest hide. We tried to get me in there, but unfortunately I don't fit. I am too broad of chest. My archer muscles, or was it the donuts that I like nowadays?
Archer
muscles.
But
in fact, I wouldn't fit. Now, if you look at this beam, it would have fitted exactly. The mortar would have been shaped so that when this was closed, locked from the inside, so it's solid. You wouldn't have been able to move it. And of course, it had panels on the outside anyway. You see, it's understood that this was one of the priest hides built by a chap called Nicholas Owen. He was an illusionist in his own right, and in fact, to this very day, he is the patron saint of illusionists, so I understand. But what he was a master carpenter who could change the shape of the house on the inside, and you wouldn't realise that just behind here, there was a priest hide, where a priest would be secure. Imagine that. So you look into a cupboard and it finishes, but you don't know that there is actually a room, a complete room behind it. He was a master of his trade.
Yeah.
Captured, well, he wasn't captured, he surrendered. There was a search at a house, 1606, and he was tortured to death in the Tower of London. He would not let any of his secrets or any names of co-conspirators, because what it was, the Elizabethan age, the great between the Catholic and the Protestant Church. It had become illegal to hide a Catholic priest in England, and that's punishable by death. And also it became illegal to hold Catholic Mass. Such was the religious hatred and the religious intolerance. But that's a whole different subject. We're here to look at the house. Now have a look in here. I'm inside a cupboard. This is the cupboard where the boy found the loose bricks, and when he looked through, he saw the stool inside the priest hide. Have a look.
It's pretty amazing that...
You can just about see the entrance. If a slim enough priest can slide in, he's got plenty of room to sit and try to relax while the house would be searched.
Pretty amazing that the ingenuity to create these.
We're in the private chapel here, the family chapel, if you like.
Faith.
But it's a bedroom. The decoration on all of the walls, it's typical pomegranates, that kind of thing, of a chapel. They were on the ceilings and on the walls. They would have been very vibrant in their day. And this piece that they've managed to preserve on the ceiling just goes to show how bright these places were. They weren't austere like the later Protestant churches, all painted white. But we had a question. So, this room, you have a priest, he's giving mass. In the nursery next door, you know, the housing staff could listen to the mass, but this is for the family here. But you'll notice the way the windows are situated, we've got north and south, they're very high up, so nobody could actually see the priest giving mass. Now, if there was a problem, he has to escape. But first of all, they've got to get rid of all of the sacraments, and we have a hide. So you're alerted. The pursuivants are coming. They're going to search the house. The priest must hide. Meanwhile, you've got to get rid of all of the sacraments. So you have a hide. I know where the key is. You simply open this up, put all of the sacraments in there, lower it back down. There's a search. People are coming. You've been warned. You open the hide. All of the vestments, all of the sacraments, everything is placed in the hide. The floorboards are down, but this is just a cupboard, a sideboard of some kind. So once everything is put away, you slide this across in the corner. Perfect. But you still have a priest. OMG, you've got to get rid of the priest. They had a way in to the ceiling here. He could then get up, and the original part of the house had 2 levels in the loft. So he could go all the way from one side of the house to the other and then find his way down to escape. This whole business was designed so that they could continue to be Catholics, so they could take care of their priests, because this wasn't just a place where priests hid. There's more to it than that, but let's just have a look in the nursery while we're here.
Incredible.
So although they call this the nursery, it was the community or the communal chapel where people could come off the estate to practice their religion, their Catholicism. This area, Harvington and around here, was a real stronghold for the Catholics during the reign of Elizabeth I. Now, we have Catholic vestments and things on display, but there is something special, something I've never seen before. This rosary. Now, this was found under the floorboards in one of the priest rooms. It's made out of holly, and dates to the early 17th century. I find that lovely.
What an incredible
Quite fantastic. Find. This is Humphrey Packington's private chapel. Now, this is quite a high status man, was Humphrey. So he's got friends in high places, people who used to be Catholics, converted to Protestantism, all of that kind of stuff. But what makes this quite lovely is he could come here and he could worship, have his chapel, providing he went to the Anglican church, I think it's 4 times a year. But what's interesting, these original paintings on the wall, they are tears and droplets. These are the tears of Christ and the droplets of the blood of Christ. So we've just come out of the small chapel, and what's really interesting is a recent discovery by the manager here, Phil. This is, it's so faint. There's the headdress, there is the face, the lips, the nose, and then the royal scepter coming down. We believe this is a drawing of none other than Queen Elizabeth I herself. And what the perfect place to put it, because although Humphrey was a loyal Catholic, he was also loyal to the Crown of England. So these are the priest chambers, set of 3 rooms. This one, obviously, for the house priest, because it's quite wonderful, beautiful Elizabethan bed. The priests were seminary. You had your outside priest who roamed the countryside, your house priest. This was a place where the priests would gather. It's a place of learning for the local people, but also where priests could meet and exchange information about where they're going to go next, what they're going to get up to. So they could stay in this house. This was a central part for those kinds of priests. Interestingly, it was the Jesuit priests that were hunted the worst. Your seminary, they weren't quite so frowned upon. As we go through, you've got a lesser room and a place to escape. You have to watch the floorboards here, all original. So, once again, higgledy-piggledy. But as we go into the final
It's pretty amazing.
priest room,
So much original still
I'll
left.
show you how they would escape. This is the great escape. The fire. But it's not a fireplace. If you look, there's a mirror, and it will show you that there is a passageway up the chimney into the loft.
No way.
It's a one-way escape passage. Just to let you know, all of this is actually not soot. It's actually painted it on to make it look like a working fireplace.
It's wild.
So we're at the top of the grand staircase, and it's quite magnificent, but this isn't the original. The original, believed to have been built by Nicholas Owen. He had to have a project that would take some time so he could rearrange the house for all of the priest hides to be installed. But this is a replica. The original was removed by the family, the Throckmortons, and he's now in the house at Coton Court. So if you want to go and see it, it's not far from here. But he left behind something. The last secret that I'm going to show you, and I love this. Let me just park my hat. It's obviously what it was built for. You're walking up the steps, have a look at this.
No way.
It is actually just a hidey hole,
That's the best one yet.
because there used to be a complete brick piece that stood there. If you open this originally, it would just have the house valuables. You had to remove the brick panel from there to then slide in and then lock the panel in place from the inside. And I can tell you, it's not comfortable sitting here holding this up. So if you were a pursuivant or his men and you're looking at this here with the family valuables in it, trying to hold up these heavy stairs, all you would see is that brick back and the valuables. So if anybody says to you, is there anything, have you found anything? Only the valuable hide, sir. You would not see the priest hide behind. And what I find interesting about these priest hides is they're all locked from the inside. So if you push, pull, you're not going to move anything. It was all barred from the inside. It looked perfect.
That's
Nicholas
crazy.
Owen,
I'm interested on the
carpenter.
hinge apparatus.
What a believer.
Of these.
paid for it with his life. One thing I find fascinating about Harvington Hall is, even though it is this house of secrets, it has all these priest hides, there are no records of it ever being searched. And yet houses nearby were regularly searched. And this may be down to the types of priests that frequented this house. Seminary. These priests were not regarded as a threat. In contrast to Harvington Hall, you have Hindlip House just down the road. That had 11 priest hides, but those were for Jesuit priests, the big threat. Now in 1606, that house was searched. Unfortunately, locked inside was the carpenter, Nicholas Owen. After 4 days of searching, he surrendered himself together with a servant. He would be tortured to death in the Tower of London. Never revealed any of his secrets or any of the people he worked with. But there were 4 Jesuit priests were discovered, I believe, in about 8 days into the search. Those poor souls would have been hung, drawn and quartered. This is indeed a bloody period of our English history. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little visit at Harvington Hall, our video there. This place is brilliant and there's always lots going on. So if you're looking for a place to visit just near Bromsgrove in the Midlands here, just outside of the city of Birmingham, it is the perfect place to come. And they do a decent cup of coffee and a pasty to boot. But this place holds more than just a visitor interest for me. I used to come here, shoot my longbow with my pals Cedric, Johnny, and a really good friend, Alan Harvey. They're all gone. Time marches on. So coming here, it's a bit of a trip down memory lane. But before I go, let's give a shout out to a couple of my Patreon members. We've got Derek Schultz and Christopher Varner. Hey guys, thanks a million. Bye for now.
I really enjoy Kevin. I just love his passion that he has for what he's showing you. He knows his stuff. He's a veteran, which I absolutely just love and respect. And he's just been gracious enough to allow us to watch his stuff. And it's just, so please, please, please go and support him and his channel. So I'm not too sure on the water and the moat and how the water gets there. Is it fed by a river? Is it fed by some other source? And then it seeps through the sandstone, he was saying, which does provide a natural filter. Not so much. You'll still have to, boil it. But incredible house. And I mentioned that it had given me Winchester House vibes. Now, if you don't know what Winchester House, it's kind of a thing. It's out here. It's by the heir, the wife. I think it's the wife, the heir of the gentleman that invented the Winchester rifle. And it's up north from me here, and I think it's San Jose, I think. Up near that way. Well, she was kind of eccentric, and she believed the ghosts of all the people that were killed by the Winchester rifle over the years were haunting her. And so she, of course, had this huge, huge house and built all these secret passages and staircases that go to nowhere and doors that open to brick walls and so on and so forth, and secret hiding places and stuff like that. And you can go and visit, and I went when I was younger, and it's pretty remarkable. And it's just one of those things, I think, maybe that has kind of stuck with me. And so stuff like this interests me, just looking at these old, well, this is Elizabethan, but medieval type homes, especially ones that have all these little secrets that are included. But the Winchester House, it's like called the Winchester Mystery House or thing. It's a big tourist place up in San Jose, I believe. But very interesting. If you're curious, just look it up. But it's, you have the money and you have the, and in her case, it was, she was a little paranoid. But this in particular, this Harvington Hall, just the history of the priests having to be hid and the Catholic faith outlawed, and just such a bizarre time. I said Henry VIII. I don't know. I thought he was involved in that. Maybe it was the Queen. I'm not sure. And he'd mentioned it, so I'm going to probably have to look that up to find out, kind of refresh. And I think I've seen some videos of it before, but again, I get so much history that it just gets, and I'm bouncing all throughout time, that it's tough for me at this point in my life to really retain a lot of knowledge. But lots of times it kind of jars the memory, and when I see something, oh yeah, I remember that, but it's not exactly correct what I'm remembering. It's somewhat correct. So I don't know where I'm at here, but just that period in the 1500s there just was wild, right? I hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. And again, a wonderful tour guide with Kevin. So please go support his channel. Links, of course, will be in the description. Drop me a line. Let me know what I've missed. Help me understand what I just saw. You guys are so amazing when it comes to helping me learn. Like I've always said, yes, I learn a lot from watching the video, but lots of times I don't have the context, and that's where all of you come in. And you all drop me some little snippets of info, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. And that's where I do the bulk of my learning, so it's incredible. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I am, let's see here. We have the live stream on Sunday. Hopefully that works. I think I'm going to do some other musical videos of some classic songs, I believe, or there's the Mountbatten Festival, I think, has been going on. That's coming up. I think I'm going to take a look at that if I can. Did I mention that I got a strike? Which, you know, it's like, well, okay. It used to really bother me. It doesn't so much now. But, you know, it's because I don't do this channel as my income. I do this channel to learn. So, interesting video. Thank you, Kevin. So stick around. Hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. Thanks so much. You guys are amazing, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Yee.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark.